with the one and only Clobberin Times.
The only time I won't say it because I can't say it better than you, buddy.
Oh my God! Greetings, brother. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm just so honored to be here, bro. Thanks for inviting me, man. I have a bit of a fondness for this subject matter. You know that.
I do, especially this movie, The Mask of the Phantasm. Arguably, in Clobby's own words, arguably the greatest Batman movie ever made.
Yes, yes, yes. Arguably, and I will argue with anyone over it. Anytime.
Yes.
Dude, it didn't play in theaters for very long in 94.
No, it
But
didn't.
I went a few times though. Brought my kids.
Yeah, I went and saw it. I bugged the shit out of my dad because that was back when I still had to I want to spend money. I want to spend my money, but I want to spend money. Oh, you got to go through me, boy. I want to go see Batman Mask. You can go see a damn cartoon in the theater. Yes, I want to go see the animated movie for Batman in the theater. Yes, and he went with me and he liked it. He did. He went with me and he liked it, and
Wow, nice. Nice.
it's one of those holy shit. They did absolutely brilliant. And it's still a big ass movie even today. It's still a big movie.
Well, obviously, many love the animated series that it is, of course, sprung from. Yeah, you're right. There's no argument there. Hello, everybody, by the way, out there in the chat. Good to see you all. Love you, Purple. Hey there. And love you all. Good to see you.
And welcome Kal-El 48. And Kal-El 48 is right. This movie was way better than live action Batman.
Way better.
Yes.
Way better. And I love, because, of course, Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, Martin Pascoe, Alan Burnett, Radamowski, I think some of the people who were involved in this, right there, it was the same crew as the animated series, but it's funny that this was in the heat of the animated series success. When it was, remember it was on every day.
It was
when you get home from school or whatever. Not me in my case, I was too old for that, but you know what I'm saying. It was in the kids' hour of the afternoon when you would get home. It was on every day, and oh man, I think this came around. I think it was around Christmas time.
It was Christmas time, 1993.
Oh, okay, 93. There you go.
It was Christmas time, 1993. And it didn't get better, man. It doesn't get better. You know what? No. What a way to start the DC animated universe. When this is it. This is how you start the DC animated universe. Whenever anybody tells you you've got to watch the DC animated movies, they are huge. DC kicked the shit out of Marvel year after year after year because of the animation. The animation kicked the hell out of anything that came before it. And when they say you need to start watching the DC animated movies, this is where you start. Yes. This is always where you start, is Mask of the Phantasm.
To me, there's probably nothing even close. Now, as we know, those animated films, were made for straight to DVD and then later, DVD, Blu-ray. I think some of them should have had theatrical runs. And obviously, they vary to varying degrees of quality. But I think they should have done more of that, where they, when they did this. But this thing, of course, this was many years, even before the Superman animated series. This is, like you said, 93. It didn't stay in theaters very long because, people go, oh, it's a cartoon. But did you know, the thing is, you knew something was special. Did you realize Siskel and Ebert reviewed this?
Yes.
They reviewed everything, and they liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, they thought it was kind of better than they almost, and they're not geeks. They were not geeks by any stretch. They were kind of critical of Mark Hamill. They didn't really like his Joker much, which they were, of course, wrong. But they really liked it, and I think they, even as not geeks, they go, "Wow, this is just incredible. This is what a Batman movie should be like." A live action Batman movie, of course, will never be like this.
I don't think Siskel and Ebert realized the connotations behind Mark Hamill's Joker and Kevin Conroy's Batman. I don't think they understood the dance almost. Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, when they slipped into those roles, it was almost like a relationship, a very, very shitty relationship between two people that could not live without each other. In this, Batman cannot live without the Joker, and the Joker cannot live without Batman. And if the Joker could blow him up and blow Gotham up and take them all out, including himself, in a blaze of glory,
Oh
there
yeah.
would be nothing happier for the Joker.
Oh yeah. And you know what? I'm going to go all prude on you here because you know what, how I'm about my superheroes. Sometimes constraints can help. I'm not for censorship of any kind, of course, but there were certain things you could not get away with in the on a Fox cartoon in the early '90s, or even in the theater, the theatrical version, that held them back, that kept these guys from going too. Not that they would anyway, those guys, but going too over the top with some of the super dark stuff. This is the proper amount of dark for my Dark Knight Detective for me.
Yes.
I don't need blood and guts, and yet they can still be dark. I mean, there are things in this movie they couldn't do on the series. I mean, there's murders in this thing. There are murders in this thing.
Oh yeah.
You could imply murders on the series a little bit. You can even say it, which was kind of at the time a little different for a cartoon. They were already breaking some rules on the animated series in the daytime. But this movie goes a little bit farther, but you still didn't have to be blood and guts to be a dark Batman story, and you did not have to make Batman over the top, pathetic or dark, or even the Joker. The murders are not shown in graphic detail, but they are there.
Oh yeah, and when you've got a Grim Reaper looking person taking out mob bosses, killing mob bosses in a movie, y'all did a fantastic. As soon as I saw the Phantasm, I was like, holy shit, I want to dress like that for Halloween. That year was one of the last Halloweens I ever went out and got dressed up, and that's I immediately wanted that. And I actually had my mother make me the suit, and I got a mask very similar, and I had my mother make me the suit, and I had the sickle on my arm, and yeah, it was sick. I loved it.
But the first thing I thought about when we were seeing all the preliminary stuff on this character, this Phantasm character, he looks, well, I say he because I'm trying not to spoiler, pretty much exactly like that Reaper character from Batman Year 2 by Mike Barr and Alan Davis. Not exactly like it. He's got a skull or anything, but that's what it reminded me of. I thought that's what they were doing, which I didn't like Batman Year 2, by the way. In other words, for those who are not familiar, Batman Mask of the Phantasm borrows a few slender elements from Frank Miller's Batman Year 1.
Yes. The when he gets dressed up in the coat with the mask, and all he has is the belt, ladies and gentlemen. All he's really got is the tool belt. Right. The bat belt. He's not Batman yet. He
doesn't have a motif yet.
Yeah, he's just a dude in a black leather jacket with a face mask and the utility belt. And I loved that. I absolutely loved that they did that.
Yes, and like you said, Purple, can't be too careful with all those weirdos around.
Can't be too careful with all those weirdos running around.
But yeah, he didn't look. Not that he looks like that character, but that's what it called to mind. That character from the what I'm referring to. There was as you know about Batman Year 1. Well, there was a Batman Year 2 a miniseries by Mike Barr and Alan Davis. You can find trades of that now. Where he fought this Reaper character. I thought the story was kind of stupid because he actually teams up with Joe Chill. Yes, that Joe Chill to find to take down this Reaper guy, and I hated the story. But I thought that's what we were going for. I thought, and then when so I'm expecting that. And then when we get that nice twist, and it is, look, when you see it for the first time, that is a really great twist. That is, spoiler alert, everyone, that who the Phantasm is. Maybe I'll say that we'll give them alert time, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you have not seen Batman Mask of the Phantasm, it is too late now. We're about to talk about spoilers. If Loki permits, of course, it is his channel.
Oh yeah, let's talk spoilers.
But that being Andrea Beaumont was a pretty good surprise, back when you first see it. I think maybe I'm wrong.
Oh yeah. You think it's her father? You
Right?
hear that voice and you
Stay,
think it's her father, and she's like, "Daddy's gone too far this time."
stay put.
No, no, you crazy ass chick. No.
You know who else spoiled it?
Hmm.
The toy company.
Oh yeah, because they had it. They had her without the helmet. Yeah,
Yep.
I remember that. I remember that. God, I can't believe I can remember that. But did they had her on? They had her on the shelf without the helmet
Yep.
and the
Before
cape.
the
Yeah,
movie.
before the movie.
But I didn't see it,
Um,
I guess. I guess for some reason I probably didn't notice it. I don't know. So, yeah.
there were a couple of things in this movie though that kind of hit you out of the blue. One of being the Joker. You have no idea the Joker's going to be in this, and then it's
No.
like, oh, he has been in it because he
Yeah.
was there. He just wasn't the Joker yet.
Yes, and there's the thing. There's a key point. The Joker's had various variations, I would say, on his origin. This one is kind of closer to the Nicholson movie where he's a thug, he's a criminal like thug guy, instead of the Alan Moore Batman, Batman the Killing Joke origins or some of those other origins, the Arthur Fleck thing or whatever. He's more like the Jack Napier type of guy because he's a crook. He's a
Yeah.
thug and a hitman apparently. So which is fine. I'm not it's fine either way, but I thought, interesting that they're going to go that, even back when I first saw it. So that's where we're going with the Joker's origin. And again, but the good news is they don't really go too deeply into it. They let you know, yep, that's what the Joker was doing. He wasn't a comedian or something like that. He was a pretty bad dude to start. So it's definitely closer to the quote unquote the Jack Napier, Tim Burton Batman, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't really bother me, but I'm just saying.
I kind of liked that. I kind of liked the mob thing. I really did. I kind of liked the mob thing, and like, oh yeah, he was kind of he was a mouthy hothead, and then the acid thing happens, and he just loses his shit after that. He completely loses his shit, and he's just crazy. I like that. I kind of like that because they never explain why is the Joker so proficient at combat? Why is he? I mean, he's supposed to be right there on the same level. His aggressiveness and his madness match Batman's talent.
It's unpredictable, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a hand, he doesn't have a shot, but he's so unpredictable. Think about it is, I kind of like the old Red Hood origin, and I don't mean the one when Alan Moore reused it, but he was kind of a schlub, dressed like that to try to just to make some money, and then But I don't mind. Again, there are variations. What are you going to do? I don't mind. This cartoon is so good. This animated film is so good, and the series is so good. It's not a problem. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying it is interesting how they, depending on where you are with the Joker, they have various. But that's just about every character these days, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got 20 million different origin stories.
Yeah.
Where that character came from, because everybody wants to do an origin story. Oh, well, this is my take on it. Oh, well, this is mine. I don't want to take over a character. I want to start my own. They're all selfish, fucking dumbasses now.
Exactly. And you know what? This was kind of a clever, subtle way to get a little snippet of the origin of the Joker in there without making the movie anything really about that at all. It's not a gigantic part of the movie, but it's a primary part. It's a component, but it's not focused on that much. It's they just kind of boom, give it to you just like a subtle little second, and that's about it. And I thought that was just like everything in the film, so clever. It was a clever way to tell you what the Joker was before, but not spend a whole lot of time dealing with it.
Yeah. And then they did it. I think they did a great job at it, and it gives him a stake in all this, and it gives her an enemy. She can't just roll over, because I mean, honestly, she just rolls over Chucky, Saul, and all the rest of them. It's Phantasm shows up, your number's up, your angel of death awaits, and it's over. And then she runs into Joker. It's like, oh no, babe. No, is that the babe? No, babe.
Exactly.
Not so easy.
Yeah, she knew, and obviously she just knew. Everyone I guess they don't say it, but I guess she just knew the Joker was one of them because she's seen him. So she knew that guy turned out to be the Joker later, I guess.
Joker. Valkyrie says Andrea Beaumont was a very well-crafted character. She gave Bruce a run for his money and made him have to work to have a relationship. Not only that, she called him on his shit. Because there's a moment in the end of the movie where he's like, Andrea, vengeance isn't the way. And she's like, how fucking dare you?
If anyone should
How
know
dare
that,
you, of all people? Yeah.
well, there was the earlier moment when he said something about her father. He just, the way I see it, the only one in this room who's controlled by his parents is you.
Yeah.
There's so many wonderful layered depths to the characterization, and you can do that even in an animated film or animated series if you have the clever writers, and on this one they do.
And it's just every
Yeah.
moment, anything he tries to get away with, she calls him on his shit.
Looks, you're not Batman after all. Looks like there's a new face in town, and pretty soon his name is going to be all over the town, along with his head and neck and legs and spleen. Oh God. Yep. I'm impressed, lady. You're harder to kill than a cockroach on steroids. I messed it up. I
And
messed up your line
Kal-El,
there, Purple.
and the music in the beginning as well as throughout the rest of the film, a true masterpiece. I
Yes.
got fucking goosebumps when that
Shirley
version
Walker.
of the opening played. When they're doing the pass through the city, and it's like dun 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 dun.
Oh, it's
That
beautiful.
that dude, I was goosebumps in the theater. I get goosebumps when I watch it now, and it's because that is the Batman music in orchestra form playing for a grand movie event, and that's what it was. It was like the grand movie event is here.
Yes, you even have the choir, the
Yeah,
little choir music in the background of it. It's fantastic. Shirley Walker was amazing. I have that soundtrack, of course, from where I had it somewhere. I don't know where it is exactly right now, but she was brilliant. And again, I was watching. There was a making of that I remember watching way back when this came out, and I don't think I've seen it lately. But Bruce Timm was talking about a lot of the techniques that they were using in the animation. You know that they usually do animation when they start drawing the cells back then, even on white paper, and they go from there.
yeah.
He said they used black paper. Everything was black, and they go from there. They wanted to give it a certain mode and a tone, and then you have certain shots in there that are like movie shots. That are just. They said instead of asking what would, and they would fill in the blank what certain like filmation guys do, whatever they would ask, what would Hitchcock do in this scene? It was something Bruce Timm was talking about, how they really go for a great mood in this. Hello, Gun Bunny, thank you. Great mood in this film. The tone of it, it's just Tim Burton could take a lot of lessons on how to do Batman, and so could every other director from
Yes,
watching this.
and it's Batman. This is Batman. This is the Batman that we all know. This is the Batman that we all love. Some people love it because you've got Harley in it. Some people love it because you've got Kevin Conroy. Some people love it because of Joker. Whatever it is, this had Batman for everybody.
I've loved Batman since I was 2 years old. Yes, I'm old, 66, and it was Adam West all the way. I still love him. He gave me my love for all of geekness, and I love that campy version of him. But as far as the Dark Knight detective version, for me, I've said this for a long time, and you know what a comics guy I am, right?
Right.
That the animated series, and of course combined with this film, is my favorite iteration of the Dark Knight Detective of Batman. And part of that is because they are restricted to. They don't have to go for the shock value, the blood and guts, the gore, the over-the-top drama, the things that movies are going to carry with them. They can just tell good Batman stories.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love. That's why I love it so much.
And they did over and over. They did you got it throughout the whole series. You got 4 seasons of some of the best Batman to ever go on your screen, and a movie that made it to the silver screen.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I also like that he only incorporated a few little tidbits from year one, because I'm so grateful now. This was that they didn't put any of that Falcone crap in there, and also just make up your own little gangsters and stuff. Because that Miller did introduce those characters, but as you could see that when you put them in something like whether it was the Dong Halloween or some and Gotham and all these other types of things later, or even in the Christian Bale movies, which are okay and everything, but the Falcone stuff just takes so much away from Batman. because they spent so much time working on that crap. I want to see Batman. Okay, I don't really care. I mean, and his villains. I want to see Batman and his villains. I don't care about gangsters that much.
Yeah,
I just don't.
well, the gangsters have never been the villains. They've been like the side villains.
But
They're like the B team,
and they never should be.
The Rogues Gallery is the A team.
Yes.
Everybody else is B team. This is who Batman warms up against, not who he takes on. Batman going against Carmine Falcone is a waste of Batman. That's someone that a cop can go after. That's someone the police go after.
Thank you. Batman. It's boring. It was okay in year one when it was just kind of setting him up, showing him a little bit, but it gets kind of monotonous. So in this one, yes, you have gangster murders, but again, it's still about Batman and Andrea, and even a little bit about the Joker, which is what I want out of a Batman story. I don't give a flying crap about gangsters that much. I mean, I just don't care.
Purple brings up the cast. I'm gonna go over the voice cast really quick. Kevin Conroy obviously comes in as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Absolutely wonderful voice cast for Batman. Of course, Kevin Conroy from the series. Mark Hamill as the Joker, who made an iconic Joker. Every weekend, every day you got to watch this. Any time it was on WB, and you got the Joker. Phenomenal. Dana Delaney as Andrea Beaumont and the Phantasm.
Nice.
Abe Vigoda.
Yep.
Abe Vigoda played the Weezer.
Sal Valestra, yeah.
Sal Valestra, and I thought that as soon as you hear him, hey, I was in The Godfather.
Yes. Yeah. Abe Vigoda. I think of Fish on Barney Miller, but that's just me. I love Abe Vigoda. Stacy Keach was in there. Hart Bachner, I believe. Yeah, and a few people.
And of course, you get Bob Hastings back as James Gordon, and you get people coming back. Robert Costanzo as Bullock.
As, Bullock, yeah.
You get. Mm-hmm. They were loyal.
Oh, Everett Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred is great. Want a little bit of a piece of worthless trivia about Hastings?
Yeah,
he's voiced 2 DC Universe characters.
Really?
Well, in the 60s, he was the voice of Superboy on the old Filmation Superman cartoon, Superboy cartoons. Yeah, so then he was Jim Gordon.
I did not know that.
He's been you probably chances are if you've watched any 60s or 70s television, you've seen him on something as well. A lot of actors, you did a lot of that stuff. So yeah. But so that's why when I first heard him as Commissioner Gordon way back when, I was like, that sort of sounds like Superboy. But
no, it can't be.
So, yeah. Oh yeah. But yes, the voice cast. Well, again, was Andrea Romano or something like that. I forget her name now. Something Romano was the lady who was always well known for being a great voice casting. And here's something that. Voice casting on animated shows used to be very different. In other words, they had people who mostly specialized in voice acting. Your Frank Welkers, your people like that, and a lot, your Mel Blancs, people like that, who specialized in doing cartoons. And there were some other shows that did it, I think. But Filmation and the other ones usually like John Ridgely or whatever, or even your Transformers cartoons or your G.I. Joe cartoons or whatever, the 80s and beyond and beneath that, the years before that, there were cartoon voice actors. This was one of the first shows. I'm not saying it's the first, but this was one. In fact, I know the Gargoyles and maybe it came on before it. I can't remember. This was one of the first shows that used actors in voice acting roles. And they directed their episodes like these people were acting on screen, even though they weren't. And if you see what I'm saying, and this was one of the first. What's up there? Hey.
Oh, I was just pulling this up. So,
what you got?
We've got a huge, wonderful voice cast. We've got the original people who made this movie. I've just spent the last 20 minutes trying to fix this because it wouldn't play.
I love these are great, man. Oh.
It wouldn't freaking play.
Are these lobby cards?
No, these are all stills from the movie.
Okay.
No, these are all stills from the movie. Getting them to run like this was a pain in the ass. I had this done earlier today. It was
Oh,
like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't take this format. We don't take this video format. So I did it
oh,
in WMV, and it's like, yeah, well, you don't even recognize WMV. So I went back and I did it in a different MP4 format, and it finally took it. Stupid thing.
oh my goodness! God, there's so many. It's just beautiful, beautiful work. I mean, this animation. You know, I remember when when this first came on the series. I mean, I wasn't sure I was going to like him using that style. What they said basically, Bruce Timm and Danny and all these guys, they said that we want to make this. We love the old and I do too. The old Fleischer Superman cartoons.
Yeah.
He said they wanted to do sort of this is Bruce Timm's kind of his style anyway. They wanted it to look sort of abstract like that. And this show, the animation on this show and in the whole Timm universe is kind of inspired by that. But look at that. I mean, and so there's definitely a cartoonish aspect to it. And you could have animated it differently. It just works on this show though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I like the fact that it follows the old Superman cartoons. I mean that was like that. I grew up watching the old Superman cartoons.
Oh
So
yeah.
seeing something that was similar but in Batman's vein, it's like, yes, absolutely. I want more. I still want
Yeah.
more. Even now, almost 30 years later, I want more Batman animated series. And we're never going to get it, not like it
No.
was.
No. Remember they tried to revive it and it was disgusting. It
Yeah.
was horrible. That movie thing they did, but with that Harley and whatever it was. But no, they what was it? But even Bruce Timm, who's just really disappointed me, I won't get into it, but he's really making me sick over the years lately. Even he said some things, and I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? In other words, he can't go back and watch the first couple of seasons of the series, and I guess he means the movie too. I don't know, because that fourth season, I didn't like some of the redesigns of the fourth season, to be perfectly honest with you. I like some of them, but I didn't like them all.
No. No, and these originals, this encapsulates the best of that series. It's the look, it's the feel, it's the sound, it's all of it combined, all of it brought together.
Yep, yep. It's just amazing. I'm sorry.
Well,
Oh
no,
my goodness.
I can see why to some people this is where it ends. This is the end all be all of this is the end all be all of the animated series and the movies. They weren't coming out with that great of movies. I mean, you had Batman in '89, you had Batman Returns, but then you had this Val Kilmer thing.
Batman Forever 85, yeah. I mean 95, yeah.
Uh, this was still good Batman.
Head and shoulders above anything that would do live action. And again, it's pretty much because Paul Denny and Bruce Timm, because again, at the time that, of course they were, a lot of people don't know this about Bruce Timm. I don't know if you know. Bruce Timm was not a DC guy. You know, some people are a Marvel guy, some people are a DC guy, and yada yada. I love both. I'm weird that way. He didn't like the only character he kind of liked for DC was Batman. He was a Marvel guy through and through. His favorite characters were Marvel, except Thor. He hates Thor for some weird reason.
I can understand that.
And but I love Thor. But anyway, the point being is he wanted to do an Avengers cartoon. I mean, he wanted to do Marvel stuff, but he did like Batman, obviously, and it showed. Of course, Paul Dini loves him, and Paul Dini's a DC dude,
Yeah,
and or Dini, and yeah, it's that simple. These guys got. Obviously, there were some restrictions on the things they could do, but they love not only love the character. There's one thing you could say, "I love this character. I love this IP or that." They knew it. They were knowledgeable about it. Knew how the character should be treated with respect, and yeah, they were the same kind of guys that would go see the Burton movie or what and go, "Yeah, I liked it. It was okay and stuff." But I mean, and then they will sit there and talk to you about all the crap that they wouldn't do in a Batman story that they do in these movies.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of it. And then they got a chance, because of the success of the daily series, or the series, to get a movie on the screen. And oh my goodness, yes, I love it. You know what Purple's putting there?
Yes. Yeah.
That really was, yeah. And I love it when Alfred simply tells him, "I'm sure they would have wanted you to be happy, sir."
That's right.
And they would, and that chokes me up inside. That whole scene where he is, you know, he just wants happiness. And
he hasn't become Batman yet. He at this point, when he says that, he is not Batman yet. He's gone out and done the vigilante bit,
right?
But he's not Batman yet.
No,
so it's like, I made this promise.
Yep.
I made this promise to you. I know I did. I know I said I was going to go out and be the hero people needed, and but I've fallen in love, and I'm happy. I didn't count on that. I please let me out of this promise, and don't make me feel guilty now that I'm happy.
Yeah, and that's all in his head. Because later, after Andrea saves him from the cops, and they look like they're going to get back together, that line Alfred says, "I'm sure, Batman still doesn't know what he wants to do. Bruce does what." And like he said, I'm sure they would have wanted to see the picture of his parents. Would have wanted you to be happy. Of course they would have.
Yeah.
This would have never even been in doubt. But that's kind of part of the psychosis of Batman.
But because of that, he doesn't see that she's the villain. He misses that. He misses that because he let himself get that deep into that. He can't see that she's the villain.
Exactly.
And he might not be after him, but his code means he's got to stop her. You're killing people. It doesn't matter whether they're pieces of trash. It doesn't matter what they did to you. It doesn't matter that they took daddy down. It matters that you're doing bad things, and I'm here to stop bad things.
This movie has one of my all-time favorite lines along the lines you're talking about, him stopping her, because I'm tired of getting, and I'm not going to have this argument with anyone now. I'm tired of getting into this argument about superheroes killing and stuff, but I'm sorry. Jim Gordon says it best. I don't care what happens in other comics or anything like that. He says, the Batman does not kill, period.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. The Batman does not kill. Now, there have been comics that have contradicted that, but I'm talking about in the parlance of this TV show, this animated series, and in my opinion, the way Batman should be. He should not kill. Because you know what? When you do that, because people always say should kill those. When you do that, you take away from his character, and that's what you got the Punisher for. All you people like the Punisher so much. There's no need for the Punisher if all superheroes run around killing people. It absolutely deflates I'm not much of a Punisher guy anyway. I'm just saying. Leave that to the Punisher. Batman's already acting outside of the law, but at least he's not judge, jury, and executioner.
But he's also a hypocrite. Especially in this movie, he is a hypocrite, because when he says that line, when he tells her, "You don't be consumed by vengeance," you are the last son of a bitch that needs to be talking to anybody about not being consumed by vengeance.
And they nail him on it.
And they nail
him on it. But then Alfred does talk to him about it at the end and says, you walk the edge of that, it's abyss. A black, that abyss every night. It's a black hole type thing. Batman doesn't fall in.
And he's the only one that doesn't. He's the only one that doesn't, and he's the only one that won't.
I think that's what makes a superhero, whether it's powers or not. They don't cross the line because they know that they don't have a right to. They help out. They help, and they save people. They help, and then we'll fight to save people. But
well, it's funny because you don't like Death of Superman. We've talked about that before. You hate it, right?
Yes. Well, no, actually, I've softened on it. Just it was at a time when that wasn't my Superman because he'd already been retconned by that's the Byrne retcon Superman. So it's not so much I hate it, although I thought it was a useless, silly gimmick. I've softened to the point where it doesn't really bother me anymore. I see why people like it. It's just not my bag, really.
Superman is in the fight of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And he watches almost the entire Justice League get taken out. He's seen Doomsday kill. And it takes all of this and the threat of Lois possibly being a a bystander in all of this for
Right.
him to go, I have to put this thing down. That's not something superheroes did. You don't kill. You know, like you said, Batman doesn't kill. Superman doesn't kill. The realization of him going, I this is a mad animal and I don't have a choice. If I don't take it out, it's going to kill everyone on the planet because I've got to take it down. There's no one who's going to take it down for me. I've got to take it down.
Well, you have to remind me a little bit. Couldn't he have just put it in the Phantom Zone?
No, no, he couldn't have
Why
put, he
not?
couldn't put it in the Phantom Zone. It had taken out the lead. It was league. It was in Metropolis. It was killing, just
Right.
killing.
I got you. I just haven't read it in a while, so I don't.
It had taken out Supergirl. It was like in the beginning he might have been able to, but he didn't know what the hell it was, and he didn't know what he was fighting. And it wasn't until he had taken out everyone and Superman was the only one left standing that I think he kind of figured out we're screwed. I'm going to either have to go all out and release everything I've got on it, or it's going to kill me and then kill everybody else.
Been a while since I've read it, so I mean, in fact, I've only read it like that one time way back then. So I remember very little about it. I know they did it on the Justice League animated cartoon as well.
They did, and
it was truncated, but
they do that. Believe it or not, they do that in Injustice. Instead of killing it, he captures it and then like tames it and controls it in Injustice. So he literally controls Doomsday. He can put like Superman can put like a little headband on and control what Doomsday does, and use him like a puppet. I always hated that.
Yeah,
I absolutely, positively hated that because you're talking about something that could go toe to toe with Superman that was designed to kill Kryptonians. That thing was designed to kill other Kryptonians. It was like a bioweapon that they made. So they sent the greatest soldier they ever had out to die again and again and again and again and again, and they just kept bringing it back to life over and over and over again until it turned into that monster. So
okay, I got you. See, that's another thing when it comes to the whole killing question. Well, not to get too sidetracked, I think it makes the superheroes more interesting that they have these codes.
Yes,
because look, I've been just started rebinging since 2005. The Daredevil Netflix show, which I really loved, first season especially, second season, and the second season, you know, that's far more violent than what we're talking about here. It's super gross and violent. And yet, Daredevil that whole second season about Daredevil and the Punisher arguing about whether killing's the right thing to do or not. And Daredevil, the things he goes through, are like Batman. It's pretty much like Marvel's Batman without the money.
Yep.
And without his sight. And I'm just saying that whole you can't have that discussion. Should somebody kill outside of the law or not when they're all killers? And so I think superheroes, once you put the costume on and decide to go out there and kind of put yourself above the law a little bit, you should at least make some codes for yourself. And Batman decides not to kill. And Superman Superman has a code against it to the point where he's fanatical about it.
Yeah, and that's something that brought me back. That is something that brought me back. And that's why I brought that up. That is why I brought that up, and that is what brought me back. When you have that, I had gone over to Marvel. I'd left DC, I'd left Superman, Batman, all that. I moved over to Marvel, and I was reading about the X-Men and Wolverine and these characters that Punisher that kill all the time. They do this shit all the time. This is their daily business is cutting some people up or shooting somebody or something. And then I find out that my hero from childhood, of course, at the time I'm thinking childhood because I'm a teenager and I'm like, oh, I was a little kid then. Superman's dead. And it was that bite of, I have to give everything. I've never let it all out and used everything I've had before because I would destroy whoever I did that to. I've got to stop this thing and I've got to put it down. And he had to cross a line. and it was something he didn't do, and it was something he wasn't going to do when he came back. He was gone, and that was the price he had to pay. That was the price he paid for taking down Doomsday, was he died himself. Is this what you want, people? Is this the death and violence you want? And there's a little kid in there that says, I took Superman for granted. I looked at him like he was a stupid Boy Scout. I liked all these other heroes that did all this other shit. And that's how I felt. I was that little kid. Suddenly I was 8, 9 years old again, and I was that little kid running around with a red cape thinking he was Superman. I had lost my way, and I found my way back to DC Comics because of that series. And that's why I will always love that series. But the question of death, like Clobby said, we'll get off this. I know we've gone off on a tangent, but superheroes don't kill.
No, I mean, if some accidents happen, but I mean, yeah, they try, and this was never ratified into law, and there are a lot of people who just poo-poo it and say, "Oh, no, it's no big deal. You're being a big, you're being, well, whatever you're being, you're being old-fashioned and all this other kind of crap." And no, it's important to that particular brand of fiction, I think, but because. Again, usually you either have superpowers or even if you're putting on a costume without superpowers, you're going out there and you are taking the law into your own hands, but you're not Judge Dredd or the Punisher. You're not giving yourself, first of all, you've not been given power by the state as with Judge Dredd, and you're not just doing whatever the hell you want to do like the Punisher. You are at least trying to help, and you're not going too far taking, it's not your call basically to kill someone.
Yes. And Project Storytime says it really well. If superheroes kill, then how can they claim to serve the law? Everyone, even the Joker, has the right to a fair trial. If they don't believe in that human right, then they are no better than the villains.
And that's what I try to tell them. They're no better than the villains. They just think they're better, and they're really just people enforcing their will on everyone else. So. Yeah, and again, that takes away from your vigilante characters that are the ones that, I mean, it makes them the same. What would be the difference between Batman and the Punisher if Batman just did all the same things except without a gun?
Same thing. He'd be exactly the same as the Punisher. Vengeance.
Absolutely. And in this film, that's a theme of this film here is the vengeance factor. This is a short movie, by the way.
Only an hour and 20 minutes. Only an hour and 20 minutes.
It doesn't even feel like that. It feels like you're just watching like maybe an extended episode in a sense.
Yeah.
The show was so good. And it touches on just all the most special elements about. In other words, if you've never seen the series, you can watch this and you don't know much about Batman, and you could learn. This is like a good starter point to make you go back and watch the series, even though it came on after the series had debuted. After the first 2 seasons, if I remember correctly. In a sense, it's an interesting introductory type, because we're not really sure when this is taking place. I assume it's after Robin, except for the flashbacks, right?
Yeah.
But they don't, because, Joker's been around a while, but they don't really tell you.
And Robin, none of the Bat family is in this. You have no Batgirl, no, and I think that would almost complicate things to the point that it was too many characters.
Yeah, you don't need them.
This is perfect. You don't need them. You don't need Robin. You don't need any of it. You just
Because when you're a geek, you think along dumb things like that. Wait a minute, why didn't Robin come help him? I guess he's in Bloodhaven or whatever. I guess he's at school or whatever.
Yeah.
So Andrea, that was kind of funny when she comes and picks him up. When he's running from all the cops. That's one of the other scenes that's taken from Batman Year One. Him running from all those cops, except they didn't do it exactly like it. But he jumps the fence, and it looks like the cops look directly at him, and they just decide not to chase her down the street. They can see the car and everything. I'm like, but okay, just a minor, amusement there. But it's just
Lord Bob has a point here. Killing in self-defense while serving the law is part of being in law enforcement.
Sure.
But
you're authorized to do that, and certain situations a citizen could kill to protect themselves as well. But this superhero is putting on a costume and going and putting themselves in the middle of the incident, and and then that's why they can't kill. They're butting in basically, and they're taking the law into their own hands. As an officer of the law, you know, can do that where Batman and Spider-Man really aren't supposed to. So DC animated verse, it was. Oh yeah, I hate Damien.
Damien, yeah.
Oh my God, I hate Damien. Jesus.
Project Storytime Bruce Wayne totally gets some action in this cartoon. Oh yeah.
Look, it's good to be Bruce Wayne. Let's just be honest. And why wouldn't it be? It's always good to be Bruce. Oh man.
The final scene had Damien pleading with his father not to shoot him, and that memory of his parents' death was so powerful it overrode that brainwashing.
Which is I'm not sure which one he's speaking of because I probably haven't seen it. If it's Damien's in it, I probably haven't seen it.
So Talia brainwashes Bruce.
Yes. Oh, I may have seen that.
And Bruce is going to shoot Damien, I'm guessing. And Damien pleading with him not to shoot him, that overrode the programming.
Well,
did you see Death in the Family?
No, I never watched it yet. Have you seen it?
Okay, you need to get it on Blu-ray. Do not watch just the regular version. Yes, you need to get it on Blu-ray. Clobberin, there's like 50 endings to this movie.
Oh my goodness.
You can this is all based on the Red Hood movie. You saw Red Hood, right?
I love that.
Okay, this is literally the Red Hood, but a what if scenario, and you can do anything. Let's say at the very beginning of the movie, you want to save Jason. You can save Jason, and Bruce takes the hit. Bruce takes the brunt of the explosion, but Jason is saved, and he goes after the Joker. And you can decide what to do. You literally pick what to do. Do you kill him? Do you bring him in? Do you lose control? And there's so many different endings and so many different ways to take the story.
This is just at the end, right?
No, this is through the whole movie.
Weird.
You pick. It's like, pick what you want to happen. Do you want Jason to die at the beginning? Yes, I still want him to die at the beginning. Do you want Jason to slip out of the warehouse at the last second? Do you want Bruce to save Jason? And from there's a giant tree of possibilities where you pick what you want to happen as the movie unfolds. And if you don't, and this is what I think is beautiful, if you don't save him, if you let everything play out the way it's supposed to, the end is basically Bruce admitting everything that happened to Clark in a diner. And asks, have I done the right thing? And he's like, Bruce, you already know the answer to that because you always do the right thing.
Wow.
You've always done the right thing, my friend. If there's any of us that has always done the right thing, it's you. And Clark gets up and puts his hat on and walks out of the coffee shop. And Bruce is just sitting there like, yeah. And then it's everything that happened in the Red Hood movie. So they literally take pieces of the Red Hood movie and feed you. It's a pick your own story. Purple called it. Yeah, it's a pick your own story. It's the damnedest. Going back to that, I haven't seen a movie like that in forever, and they were always cheap. This is literally a animated movie made by the same people that did Red Hood, with the same voice actors and the same characters and the same animation, except it's a pick your own story.
So it's not an adaptation of the Death in the Family comic per se.
No,
using that name.
They're just using that name. It is literally the Red Hood animated movie, except pick your own story.
Wow, I may have to check that out because.
But one of the
Blu-ray, right?
On the Blu-ray, one of the endings of that literally is Bruce dying and Talia resurrecting him, and it's a fight to the death between Jason as Red Robin against Batman. That's one of the little endings you get, and it can go like 3 different ways from there, depending on how you choose to be. One of them is really cool. You see this little kid. This little kid ends up talking to Jason. After you like go evil, you actually kill the Joker, and this little kid ends up talking to Jason as he's fighting. One of the, I can't remember what villain it is, but he ends up talking to Jason. Then that little kid ends up being, what's the youngest Robin's name? It's not Dick, it's the other one.
Timothy Drake?
Timothy Drake. That little kid ends up being Tim Drake, and Jason takes over as Batman, and Tim Drake becomes Robin. And that's how it ends. It's so many cool endings. It was so cool getting to watch that and mess with that.
Wow.
And then again, we've gone off Mask of the Phantasm, but
no, that's okay. We're still in Batman, so. But yeah,
you've got to check out that movie.
I would like to watch
Blu-ray. If you get it on Blu-ray, DVD, either way you get it, it's a pick your own adventure movie.
Wow. Well, I didn't hear it was that elaborate, but yeah, I mean, I remember back when that comic came out, Death in the Family. It was just I had a shop at the time, and that was basically you dialed a 976 number if you wanted to kill him. And another one, or if you want him to live, or the other one if you wanted to live or to die. You had 2 numbers, and I, of course, voted to kill him a couple times. I didn't like Jason Todd. I was a Dick Grayson guy, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I've always been Dick Grayson. Nightwing, yeah. Bloodhaven, Nightwing, because he's exactly like Bruce. He is. He's just like Bruce. That's why they don't get along. That's why they couldn't work together, because they're exactly the same.
He wouldn't agree with you, though.
Yeah, and I think even one of those you get where Tim Drake takes over the mantle of Batman, and they're arguing. Jason and Dick are arguing, and Dick says something very Batman-like, and Jason's like, "You're just like him." You're just like him, and he's like, "No, I'm not." And, yeah, you are.
Yeah. Now there were obviously they did have some differences. Dick was a little bit more optimistic, but he was younger, so yeah. And I remember that I loved in that first episode of Batman the Animated Series, which was the first one produced, not the first one aired, but it was actually Christmas with the Joker. Was the first one produced? They actually did not show it first.
No, they didn't. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg.
Yes. The Batmobile lost the wheel of the Joker. Got it. But at the end, Dick Grayson was trying to making Bruce watch It's a Wonderful Life. He said, "I can't believe you've never said I never could get past the title." You know, and he was. I mean, it was. He'd never seen it because of the title, and there are definitely some differences there. They fought a lot as well, but this film is just. I think it proves to you that you can tell a great Batman story without all the super darkness and all the gore, and you don't need a lot of time to do it. I wish they had been able to do a few more. They did. I know they did Sub-Zero. I didn't really like Sub-Zero that much. The next one, to be honest, it was okay.
No, I didn't either.
But there are a lot of better episodes. Mystery of the Batwoman was kind of okay, but it's almost like it was unrelated.
It wasn't Mask of the Phantasm.
No,
they made such a huge bar. They put up the bar when they made Phantasm. They put up this bar, and it's like they continued to try and get over it, but it just wasn't happening.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think it was, that was for us too. Purple, the Cat in the Claw was one of the, I thought it was on Leather Wings, but I think it was the Cat in the Claw with the 2-parter that they showed first here. I think they showed it on a Saturday morning, even though it was a daily show later. But yeah, not the greatest one. But yeah, this movie, I don't know. I mean, I think your story that you told at the beginning should tell you something. Like, even someone who's not necessarily a comic book geek or anything like that, that's an adult that doesn't want to go see a cartoon, will walk into the theater, and I wish it would happen more, like you had said with your pap, with your pop, that would just say, "Hey, it's a cartoon," and then they go watch and go, "Wow, this is pretty good."
Well,
even if you're not a Batman fan.
was telling this story the other day, and I was out of college, and I went over there, and he was out by the pool, and believe it or not, I had no idea that Frank Miller did a Batman comic at the time. This would have been very, very early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know. I didn't know that there was a damn comic written by Frank Miller, done by Frank Miller, that was basically The Dark Knight Returns. And he's sitting out by the pool in a lawn chair, and he's reading The Dark Knight Returns.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what you got there? He's like, oh, and I'm like, uh-huh. And he's like, you ought to read this. It's really good. And I'm like, okay, I will definitely. It was just funny that, yeah, all of a sudden, he's reading about Batman. He was always a Superman fan. The reason why I saw those Superman cartoons when I was a kid was because he collected them. He got them on
Oh, cool. Okay.
So he was always a Superman fan. He took me to see Batman '89 and all that shit. But as far as comics go, he wasn't the I'm going to go and take you to the comic book store kind of guy. He was like, you need to use your money for practical shit, not comic books. So it was like when I lived there, shit like that was not okay, and he was disappointed in me. Once I moved out, it was like, whatever, you're taking care of yourself and paying your own shit. You spend your money on whatever you want. But yes,
wow.
He introduced me to Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns.
Wow.
So he didn't want to take me. He didn't want to take me because he didn't want me to spend the money on it. It wasn't that he didn't want me to go see Batman the animated movie. He just didn't want me to spend the money going to see the animated movie.
I hear you. But I wonder who got him to read that. I mean, where did you just got? I mean,
I don't know. He bought it. But me and him both were part of book clubs, sci-fi book clubs. But every once in a while, he had some other shit. So it was like, Batman, Superman. I got him to read the Death of Superman. He didn't like it either. He was pretty much in your you're stupid. Superman doesn't die. I say that. Guys, everybody who's heard me talk like my father, oh, I'm a stupid thing there. Hey, you ain't going out and spending money on comic books. He did not talk like that. He was one of the most intelligent men that I've ever known. He had his own library. He had like his own makeshift library. He had like in his office, he had like 15 bookshelves that were full of books, not just fiction books. He had all kinds of shit from when he was in college. He had flight manuals. He was a pilot. You want to talk about the math you need to become a pilot? There's some fucking math you have to know. Shit that I won't. Yes. I don't. You should. You gotta know. Oh, if you turn the plane like this is exactly what it's going to do. He knew all that shit. He knew more about. He's a much smarter person than I am. I may talk like like he was a redneck, but believe me, he wasn't. He knew his numbers and his letters, folks.
And that's
he just didn't like spending money on shit like that.
Oh no!
Even though he did, he had comics. Clobby, he had the first Spider-Man Fantastic Four meetup. He had that very first Spider-Man Fantastic Four.
Oh, I think you told me that would of course be Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Yeah, and it's just like God, dude, and he just you don't spend your money on that shit. You don't. It's weird. You're a weird guy.
I got you. Well, I tell you what, that's pretty cool. A pretty cool surprise. We walk in there and he's reading a Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns. Probably the trade paperback, I would imagine.
It was the novel. It was the novel. It wasn't even. It was the novel. Yeah, it wasn't it was like a book. It wasn't a comic. It was an actual book.
What do you mean, like a prose fiction book?
No, like okay, you go down and you get a paperback novel. It was like the novel.
It was a book. It was the comic, though, right?
Nope, it wasn't the comic. It was like a book.
There was a prose adaptation.
Yes, there was an adaptation.
A novelization. I don't remember that.
Novelization of Miller.
Of Miller's Dark Knight Returns. I don't recall there being one. So cool. So it wasn't a comic, wasn't it? I've always actually.
No, it was an actual book.
I've always actually been fairly critical of. I know you're shocked to hear me critical
Here it is. I've
of
got
that
this
comic.
too, I think. I've got this somewhere. No, that's the actual. That's like the novella. I do have that one though too. I have his book. I have his actual book. The one that I've got is the one where he's like flying with the lightning bolt going down the middle.
Yeah, but it's not. You're saying it's not a comic; it's a
It's not a
novelization.
comic. It's an actual novelization. Yeah, I've got one of them. I know I've got one of them because I found it when I was unpacking. I may have more than one. I'll send you a picture. I'll put a picture up.
That's cool.
Right now,
That's
there are
cool. No
people out
problem.
there going, Loki's bullshit. No, I'm not. It really happened.
No, I believe you. I just don't. I mean, look, I forget stuff all the time, and things get by me all the time. Let's see, it's Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns novel, huh? Wow, cool. I probably just never. If I ever saw it, I don't remember it. So
I'll get you a picture.
that's cool.
Yeah, Purple's like, I need to look that up now.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. So
anything you wanna throw out there before we get out of here?
This film is they're never going to come close to doing anything as good as this for Batman. As far as anything that's going to play on the silver screen, I wish we'd gotten more. As I'm going to say, this thing, it takes off, it never stops. It is the best iteration of the character for me when it comes to just. I wish we'd got more than 4 seasons, but that's still pretty good. But no, I think we pretty much summed it up. See, everyone here's seen it. But you're not hanging out with us probably tonight talking about Batman if you haven't seen the film. So to go through every little nook and cranny of the film probably really isn't necessary. I mean, you could do that. You can deep dive and do that if you want, and we can if you ever want. But just basic talk about the film is kind of it's just because we've all seen it. Now there was a Nightfall. I remember there was a Nightfall novelization.
Yes.
I think, and Kingdom Come.
Yes, and Kingdom Come.
Yeah. But I didn't know they done one of that one there.
This was older. This looked like or maybe early 90s. It was older because I've still got it somewhere.
Humor and Waffle said hasn't seen Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Oh, okay. Well, we spoiled you then. Sorry.
You need to. Humor and Waffle. Seriously, check it out. Absolutely. I think this movie encapsulated the series. This movie was one of the brightest parts of the series while it was still up. The fact that we got a movie, that it was in theaters, that you could actually go to the theater and see it, and it made its money back. It's worth, Lord Thought, it's worth the 90 minutes you'll spend watching it. Absolutely.
And it'll go by fast.
And it's touching to see Batman vulnerable like that, to see that before he ever became a Batman, he was this close to not being Batman.
Well, one of the things I love about it, this I don't know if it's going to make a lot of sense. This deals with his origin without rehashing his origin. If what I mean by that is, we've seen a million times the alley scene and the training stuff and all. This one doesn't do that. This talks about, it does, of course, add a chapter to his life that we were not previously aware of. It steals a bit of a tidbit from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Year One in terms of his first night out without a costume, and him realizing that there was only one problem, Alfred. They were not afraid of me. I'd have to strike fear in them from the beginning. And dude, how great is that scene when he finally puts on the mask after, of course, his heart is broken and Andre and her father leave after he'd asked her to marry him, and then she leaves even though she'd said yes. And that music, that wonderful Shirley Walker music that we've been talking about, and the scene when he puts the mask on, the Alfred's responses, I don't care how over the top or corny it is, it's fantastic. I mean, it really gets you as a Batman fan. He goes, my God. And that music, wah, 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 it's just haunting scene, a great scene. Yeah, and it was just too cool. It was just really just so well done.
How shocked Alfred was when he put it on. It's the eyes. When those eyes, you see those eyes in the dark, those white eyes, it's yeah, he's scared shitless. Even Alfred's like scared. And I think that's when Bruce knew this is it. I did it. If I can
Yep,
scare Alfred, I can scare the shit out of anybody.
absolutely. And that's one of the things this film does so well. Rather than retread older ground and just go back to as a child Bruce or any of that other kind of stuff we've seen 100 times, add a new layer to it. And yes, the Andre Beaumont character is new for this. Now, for those who may remember um hey J Man, cool, the great J Man's here. Good to see you, buddy. What's the scene? Oh man, I forgot where I was going with it. See, I should never stop myself. I forgot what I was talking about. I'm so old.
You were talking about the scene, a scene.
See, there you go. You too. Now I made you forget. No, I can't remember. But I had something, man. See, that's what happens when you get senile. As far as I can remember.
It
But
might
yeah,
be, it might not be.
okay. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Batman Adventures, the comic Batman Adventures, which was the comic book DC was putting out adjacent to, or with the series, the animated series, and they did, if I'm remembering correctly, bring Andrea back, but it's not the same.
No, no, it's not the same. It never will be the same. This is what you get.
Yeah,
This is what you want to see.
but they did
This
bring her
is
back
why
though.
we're here tonight. This is
Yeah.
why we came here tonight for our love of this animated movie. Well, guys, we're going to be back in a month. I don't know whether we're going to be on Clobby's channel or my channel. I don't know
You
if we're
name it.
going to keep doing this on mine. I would love to go back and forth if you want. And we'll bring you guys another movie. I don't know what movie we're going to do next. I know it won't be the Sub-Zero because it's
Oh
just
no.
like, I don't know if I can sit through Sub-Zero again.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with that. That was a direct to video release. By the way, I remember one of the things I forgot. I remembered when when I like all the little Easter eggs they put in this one when Bruce is working on his computer trying to figure out where that chemical came from that Andre was using, and it was O'Neill tools and Adams tool and die or whatever. An O'Neill and Adams reference there. So
Yes.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. The names O'Neill and Adams should be synonymous with Batman. But dude, what you want to ask everyone what they think we should pick, or you just want to just pull one out of random? And I don't care where we do it, man. Either way is fine with me.
Guys, if you wanna help us pick a movie, throw some suggestions in Valhalla, the Valhalla Discord. You are more than welcome to throw some suggestions in. Everyone that's in Valhalla, be by all means throw us some suggestions and we'll look over them and talk about it and figure out what we're going to do next month.
Well,
We've got a month, so
I know what we should do. Oh, I don't know if we should. I've got an idea on that.
go ahead.
Well, since we're staying in accordance with this, I know it's technically not a movie, but it kind of was movieized. What about World's Finest?
We can do that.
Which was, of course, it was kind of it was a movie special of a sort, right? It was between the two series when Batman. I don't know. It's a 3-parter. They were released in movie form. You got that one, and later, you also have that Batman Beyond, one of the Return of the Joker type thing.
Dude, that is one of my, especially the uncut version. See, I had that on VHS and DVD. It wasn't until I got it on Blu-ray that there was this scene where you see, instead of them just telling you what happened to God damn it, it's not Jason, it's the other one. Yeah, instead of just them telling you what happened, you see it. You see little J.
Yeah,
you see what Joker did, and you see Joker die. You see the animated Joker die.
Yeah.
You did not see that in the original cut of that film.
Wow. I have it somewhere. I don't know if I have that, what you're talking about, but well, there. So you want to do World's Finest?
Let's do World's
I'm just
Finest.
throwing it out there, dude. We could go to Batman Public and Superman Public Enemies if you would like that one.
No, let's stick with Batman, just Batman for a little bit. We will do Public Enemies because that is arguably one of, it's in my top 5 somewhere. It's probably in my top 3.
I like that one.
Keely Chow, because of the way Batman and Superman fight together against enemies. They complement each other. It's not just like pow, boom, whack. Batman's literally doing shit that's setting up moves for Superman, and Superman's doing stuff to set stuff up for Batman. They're working together as a team. And if there was a training room in the Hall of Justice, this is what they practiced together to learn how to fight together. Some of the best Superman Batman team up move shit I've ever seen is in that movie.
Yeah, I really like that one. I like that one, and I loved Under the Red Hood also, Purple. But yeah, if you want to stay with Batman a little while, but that would gives us a chance to have a little Superman too. But I mean, we don't have to do World's Finest first. It just popped in there.
Let's do World's Finest. That's perfectly cool with me.
It was. I mean, they later split it into like 3 parts, but it was actually sort of a movie special, TV special thing back when it came on. If I'm remembering correctly, I have it. Of course, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got everything the animated universe. Besides, I'm waiting on the Superman series. I almost bought that a couple of months ago, and I said, no, I want to see if they have it on Blu-ray before I get it.
And now it's coming out.
Now it's coming out on Blu-ray. So I will have it on Blu-ray. So I've got all I need is Justice League on Blu-ray, and I'll be good.
Nice.
I've got all the movies. I've got all the shit. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
all right, everybody. Do you have anything coming up you want to promote before we get out of here?
Oh, well, I'll be on with our buddy Nick tonight at, I believe, at the 9 Central. I'll be on there on Toxic Tuesday with our good buddy Nick Weiser, and we're going to be talking about the film The Last Boy Scout. Tomorrow night, I think I'll just do an open show if I'm able to get home in time and just talk to the gang like I do sometimes. Thursday, the Global Geek Gang, 1 p.m. Central, where I'm gonna dazzle everyone with some magic. In other words, I'm going to show them. I've been doing a theme. I don't know, Loki this month on my Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk, where I'm talking about the great comic book team up series. First week I did World's Finest. Second week I did Brave and Bold. I mean the comics, not the cartoon. And then last night I did Marvel Team Up. And I got 2 more to go. I got Marvel 2-in-1, and DC Comics Presents to do after that. But in the meantime, Global Geek Gang this Thursday, I'm going to let you name the team up that you would like to see, the crossover team up between Marvel, DC, or what have you. Most unlikely you can, and I'm going to show it to you. There's not probably. Yeah. I'm going to show you. Well, you could say, oh, what if? And again, it can be cross company even. And I'm not just talking about 2 DCers or 2 Marvels. I'm talking cross company. Go ahead and read that, Owen.
Before we get out of here, the wide eyes that masked heroes had in the early days of comics were copied from the Phantom. Creator Lee Falk got the idea from Greek sculptures. I did not know that. Classic comics.
That is absolutely true. Wow, classic comics. Excellent. I love Lee Falk's The Phantom.
And thank you so very much for that. Guys, thank you everyone who's thrown in a super chat this evening. I know I haven't been doing skulls because I wanted to wait to the very end, but thank you. Thank you so very much. We are releasing the Viking Horde for all of you. Skull! Guys, we're out of here. Everyone take care. Have a great one. Thank you for being here. And me and Clobby will see you in a month.
Hey, yell. Absolutely. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Thank you for being here, brother. Later, everybody.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.